So August is nearly upon us, and the transfer market within the Saudi Pro League it's pretty quiet, to be honest with you. There's not a lot going on at the moment. This could be for a few reasons. One, the fixtures list hasn't come out yet, which is, as a Premier League watcher previously and someone who's learned about the Saudi Pro League, it's something that I learned that the fixtures tend to come out quite late. And I'll be really intrigued to know if anyone watching this why that's the case, because usually they'd be out by now. There's a lot of planning and structure going into place. Unless I'm missing something, I'm looking online and I can't see any fixtures that have come out at the moment other than the tournament prior to the league starting. So please let me know why that's the case. So maybe it's a case of just like seeing what the fixture lists come out, and teams can grow into it. The second point could be that there is actually financial fair play in the Saudi Pro League now. It came out in July. Not everyone was talking about that, but there is very much a structure in place. It's not reported about at all in the Western world. In the Western world, it's still very wild, wild west out in the Saudi Pro League. But actually, there is a structure in place that the teams need to comply to. We know that the PIF-funded clubs, so Ali, Ittihad, Hilal and Nasser, tends to be sort of spread out amongst them. And, Ittihad, for example, only made one signing, Al Ghamdi from Etifak, and that was under 10 million. So we're talking small transfers. The only two big transfers really has been Theo Hernandez going from Milan to Hilal, which is exactly the right sort of signing, a guy in his mid-20s, a player who, absolutely will help transcend the Saudi Pro League, I'm sure. And obviously we've got Retegui going from Atalanta to Al Qadsiya, which again is the right type of transfer. Retegui was the top goal scorer for Atalanta last season, the right age profile. So I think there is a little bit more shrewdness going into the signings. We know that João Felix, it looks like it's pretty much done going to Nasser. So again, a guy in his mid-20s looking to re-find himself in his career. And this is the right type of signings, but I think there's a certain specificness, that's a word, around who the Saudi Pro League are targeting now. I don't think it's so much that older player anymore. They've gone in for Isak, of course. Darwin Núñez has been linked. They've gone in for other players where it's not that kind of. I think only the player that I can see that's been linked really, who's been over 30, is Kevin De Bruyne, and obviously he went to Napoli. But in general, it's either sort of slightly older goalkeepers. But if it's an outfield player, they're targeting that mid-20, higher 20 sort of area. And I think that's the right move. I think that's the right move. I spoke about this earlier on in the short form video that I did. Someone like Alexander Isak, for example, he is been offered £600,000 a week. He's the right age profile. He's the best striker in the Premier League last season. Absolutely perfect to try and get him from the Saudi Pro League. What a statement that would be. But the problem is that Isak knows that he can go somewhere, sign a 4 or 5 year deal, still get 300 grand a week, and he'll probably still get 500-600 grand a week from the Saudi Pro League when he's in his 30s. Whereas if there's a change of tactic towards that by the Saudi Pro League, it might make players think, okay, let me take this deal now because I don't know if it's going to be on the table later on. And with this in mind, I've put together a player from each of the top 6, so the traditional top 6. So I'm not including Newcastle in that, sorry Newcastle fans, but the traditional top 6 from the Premier League, a player that I think the Saudi Pro League clubs could get from the Premier League. So Arsenal, Liverpool, Chelsea, Man United, Man City and Spurs. And I'm going to go through them now because I think there's a certain type of player that fits the Saudi Pro League profile quite nicely. The right age profile, sort of mid-20s to late 20s, has had a really good pedigree in their early 20s, shown that they are a really good player, but maybe just through the packed squads of the Premier League, through the fact that it is actually quite difficult to get into a Premier League squad. Look at players like Jack Grealish, for example, can't get in the Man City team. Look at players, Leandro Trossard can't get in the Arsenal team. These are good players, but it's just the way the Premier League works. There's lots and lots of quality there. I think that's where the Saudi Pro League can strike. So João Felix is a perfect example of that. And I'm going to go through 6 players that I think will suit that profile. Number 1, from Liverpool. I've already spoken about him, but Darwin Núñez is the perfect fit for the Saudi Pro League. I think he's got halal written all over him. He's that type of player, that sort of tenacious player, that player who will be really good on the break because he's quick, he runs the channels well. There's always questions over his finishing, but I think he's a confidence player. I think he's a player that once he gets 1 or 2, he's off and running. And because he's been a bit stop-start at Liverpool, he's in the team, he's out the team, he's never really had the chance to flourish. And I think if the rumours are true and they're open-minded to replace him, Mitrovic, due to the injuries that Mitrovic has had and the lack of reliability, obviously he was unbelievable 2 seasons ago. But last season, he was very in and out. There are probably worries about the injury side of things. And I think, it's something that maybe could work quite well towards Darwin Núñez going to the Saudi Pro League. And I think Halal will be a really, really good fit. Going on to Arsenal now, the team that finished 2nd in the league last year behind Liverpool. People will probably think I'm going to say Trossard. He's been linked for moves to the Saudi Pro League. But I'm actually going to say Gabriel Jesus. Gabriel Jesus is a wonderful footballer. In 2022, he nearly propelled Arsenal to the title. He got injured in the World Cup in Qatar, and that really stopped him. He was out for the rest of the season. He's never really recovered from that. He came back last season and he looked sharp, and then he got injured again. And I just think, again, with a good summer behind him, a good summer of recovery, he'd be a fantastic signing for any Saudi Pro League club. And I think Halal would be a good fit. He was an out-and-out centre-forward for Arsenal. It's just through injuries, he just lost his place to Kai Havertz. At Man City, people forget he's won 4 Premier League titles at a very young age. He's still a good age. He's still in his 20s. And I think Gabriel Jesus would be an awesome fit for any Saudi Pro League club, but particularly I would say someone like Halal, again, would be great. The reason I say that is because obviously Nasser got their attacking forwards, Mane, looking like sounding Felix, Ronaldo. For me, Jesus should be a centre forward. He should be a number 9. And with Halal out looking for one so heavily, Etihad have obviously got Benzema, Ivan Toney, Ali. That would be a good fit. Going into number 3. So Manchester City. Part of me wants to say Jack Grealish, but I just can't really see that happening, to be quite honest with you. I think that's a player that might be out of the reach. The obvious one is Ederson. Okay, Ederson. So there's been lots of talk around Ederson going to the Saudi Pro League. It's kind of been put on the back burner. Ederson said no, he's not going. But they've just signed James Trafford for big money from Burnley, which I think opens the door a little bit. It's an interesting one because they've got Ortega, who's a very good goalkeeper, to get James Trafford in, and Ederson. So 3 goalkeepers of a good standard. It seems like someone could go there. And you maybe might think Ortega, but Ederson's been linked for moves to the Saudi Pro League in the past. He's made whispers that he's open-minded to it. Maybe with a bit of financial fair play there, Ederson, I imagine, will be on big wages. It would make sense to get rid of him. He's been there a long time, picked up a couple of injuries. Pep Guardiola has been very complimentary of Ortega when he's replaced Ederson. He's actually made a few mistakes towards the end of last season, Ederson as well. So I'm going to say Ederson from Man City seems to make sense. Going into Chelsea now, obviously the one to talk about would be João Felix. It's something that it looks like it's happening already. It's something that it's not over the line yet, but he's the perfect sign. I mean, Chelsea got a few players, I think, who could end up in the Saudi Pro League. I think Nkunku. So I'm not going to say João Felix, I'm going to say Christoph Nkunku because he is, again, another player of the right age profile, shown tremendous pedigree at Leipzig prior to going to Chelsea, and has just got lost into the shuffle of that Chelsea side. And can play number 9, can play up front. So I'm going to mention Halal again because we know how much they want to centre forward, but he can play on the wing. You know, I'm thinking I could really see him at a club like Ali, maybe on that left wing. Mahrez on the right, him on the left with Toney up front. Sounds pretty exciting to me. And yeah, I just think it's a great fit. It's that, again, that right type of profile. All the players, I'm saying it, Ederson's in his 30s, but he's a goalkeeper. He's got plenty of years in him. All these players are fitting into that nice slot of, you know, in their 20s and can certainly make something happen. Going into Manchester United now, I'm going to say Diogo Dalot. Diogo Dalot is a player who I think has been so underestimated at Manchester United. I think he's actually probably, other than Bruno Fernandes, been their best player. And he doesn't quite fit the wing-back structure of Ruben Amorim. He's more of in a 4, a bit like Cancelo a little bit, suits that better than if he's a wing-back. They've obviously bought Dorgu at left wing-back. They've got Mazwari at right-back as well. There's rumours that they might play Amad Diallo at right-back because they've got a sort of shoehorn Brian Mbeumo into the team. And I just think Diogo Dalot is a player who's super underestimated. Again, he's the right age profile. He's got a fantastic delivery on him. And I'm constantly talking about how Nasser have to improve their back four. To me, Dalot is an obvious one. And I think you could get him. I think he's a player that would be open-minded to a move after some hard times at Manchester United. A bit like Cancelo, similar sort of profile of a player. And I think Diogo Dalot would be the one. A lot of people would say likes of Antony. Of course, Rashford's already gone to Barcelona. But no, for me, you don't want to go down that road too much. I think that's going to be big wages. Casemiro will just solve a problem for Manchester United. Whereas Diogo Dalot, I think, will be available. He's not a first name on the team sheet based on the fact that he doesn't really suit the style. And I think someone like Nasser could get him out. Also, the Cristiano Ronaldo factor as well. That'd be an amazing signing for someone like Nasser. And finally, going into Tottenham Hotspurs. Obviously, they had an awful season last year. Despite winning the Europa League, they finished 17th. I think that there's a real sort of reshuffle going on there. Someone might say someone like Son Heung-min, which I think wouldn't be the worst fit in the whole entire world. But again, I'm trying to avoid that age factor. And the one that stands out to me is, part of me was going to say Kulusevski, because obviously Mohamed Kudus has gone there, but I think Kulusevski's still got a role to play there, maybe in that 10 role. Makes you wonder where Maddison's going to play, makes you wonder where Morgan Gibbs-White is going to play. But it turns out, looks like they're not actually going to sign Gibbs-White now. So I'm going to say Richarlison. Richarlison's someone who, for big money to Tottenham, it's not really worked out for him. He can play that number 9 role again. So there's suitors in the Saudi Pro League. That is a in-demand role. But I think probably more so on the wide areas. Richarlison's proven at Watford and Everton that he is a handy player. He's a good player. Too many antics for me. I would love it if he tidied that up over his game. He's too diving and trying to get people booked and taking his shirt off more than he's scoring and all this kind of stuff. But look, he's a good player on his day. And I think, again, probably a player just looking to find a bit of confidence there. Richarlison could be a good fit for a Etihad, for example. I know they've got Steven Bergwijn, who actually was at Tottenham as well, Moussa Diaby, Benzema, but Richarlison I could see being a part of that. And he's a very, very, very good footballer on his day. Do you agree with those? Those 6 players there, I think, are players that not just are realistic signings, but players that make the league stronger. They're the right age profile. They've fallen into that Premier League shuffle where maybe they're surplus to requirements despite being good players. And that can happen to any player in the Premier League because there's a lot going on. So let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know who you think should be on the radar of Saudi Pro League clubs from the Premier League or indeed from Europe. Obviously, Premier League is a subject I know a bit more about. I'm very open-minded to hear about new players. I do think there will be a springboard effect going into the Saudi Pro League transfer market. It usually happens towards the end of the Saudi Pro League because more players become available at that time, and it'll be very, very interesting indeed. And let me know when the fixtures come out because I don't know what's going on with that. It's bloody weird. All the best from me. See you soon. Bye-bye.